Tori here today with another Scrap Your Scraps video. So this one's a fun one. I'm combining two of my favorite things right now, scrap paper and embroidery. I've gotten sort of addicted to embroidery and looking at it online. So I thought, I wonder if there's a way I can mesh these two things that I love together, and I figured one out. So put aside your scraps for a little bit, which is a funny thing to say for a Scrap Your Scraps video, but trust me, we're coming back to those. And grab a piece of paper. So I did use a 12 by 12, but I'm just going to demonstrate on this smaller paper. And draw some circles. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can do this. You can trace something. So if you have a candle that circle, you could trace that. If you have dies that are circle, you could trace the dies. I have this really awesome Martha Stewart circle cutter, and you put like a blade in here and it creates the circles. But what I did was I used this circle cutter from Martha Stewart and a pencil, and I just grabbed the pencil, stuck it in one of the holes, and turned it round and round to get the circle. And there you go, you have a circle. And I just kept repeating that with different sizes all over the entire page. Some were big, some were small, and I overlapped some of them. I stuck some in the middle of other ones, and just sort of kept going all across the page. Hopefully you guys can see that. Sorry if you can't. All across the whole entire 12 by 12 page. Then, once I had done that, I grabbed a poking tool. This one is from We Are Memory Keepers, but you could use anything. You could use a push pin or whatever. And you want to grab some kind of foam or something to stick underneath. And then just start poking around the circle with the pokey tool, going every quarter inch or so all the way around all the circles. Then you're going to grab some of your embroidery floss and do some embroidery or hand stitching around those circles. So it does take a little while, but what I did was I popped myself in front of the TV, and when I was done, through the magic of television, I had this awesome layout, well, it's not really a layout yet. Right now it's just a paper with embroidery on it. And it just looks so cool, and it was actually really fun to do. I watched a movie while I did this, and just grabbed a whole bunch of different colors of embroidery floss. Now, if this seems a little overwhelming to you, you don't have to do this many circles. You could just do fewer. You could do it on a smaller size paper. Really, whatever works for you. And I used a back stitch, so I did the whole circle, but you could use any kind of stitch that you know how to do. That's the one I know how to do, so that's why I used it. I also used lots of colors, but you could use just one color. You could use a white background instead of pink. You could use whatever you like. So try to come up with your own ideas. The back doesn't look that great because I just covered up the ends with washi tape and stuff, but that's okay. I'm going to stick it in my album and nobody will be the wiser. I also added some fun details to some of these. Just hold that up so you guys can see. I just added some like little stitching lines around some of the circles just to touch it up a little. So that's where my layout is now. Now I'm going to take it up a notch by grabbing my scraps. So like I said, they are coming into this layout. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to punch out or cut out circles using my scraps. And I have a lot of circle punches, so that's what I'm going to use. But if you don't have circle punches, not to worry, trace some circles with your scraps or cut them out, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to place some of those circles on top of the layout as well. And I recommend going with similar colors to what's already in the layout because it'll add to the effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out a bunch of those using my scraps, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, now that I have all those circles, I can actually make the layout, and so I wanted to bring you along for that ride. I felt like my photo needed a mat, so I'm just matting it on this like white, off-white colored paper. And then I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to use for my title, and I decided to use this glitter foam piece that says "Love You" because I love these ladies so much. This is the leadership team for my Bible study. These women have just been so inspiring and encouraging to me, and I wanted to make a layout about them. So I'm going to use that as my title, and I thought if I backed it on some cream color paper like the photo, it would help it to stand out. And so before I add all my scraps, I'm just going to figure out where I want those to go and the title and just add that. So what you did see me do was ink all the edges of all my scraps just to help tie them together. And so I'm going to add those on top of the stitching that I did. So I meet with these ladies every Saturday for our leaders meeting, and so I decided to add a title or a label that says Saturday and then one that had the date of this specific Saturday to go with my title, so like Love You and Saturday. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place those circles all over the layout, overlapping and overlapping the stitching that I did on the layout as well. So just while I'm doing that, I wanted to say that I have a Facebook group if you want to join me over there and you like using your scraps. There's a whole bunch of lovely ladies, I think a couple gentlemen too, or maybe at least one, and who are scrapbooking with their scraps, doing project life, layouts, cards, and all different things, using my inspiration, but also sharing their own Scrap Your Scraps videos, and it's a really fun place to be. So if you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. I'll leave a link below, and you can request to join, and then I'll make sure I add you to the group. So you can share layouts that you make inspired by my pages, or inspired by other people, or just layouts you make using your scraps. It's a really fun place. So I decided to make my scraps the same colors as the stitching, and it just really adds another level of dimension to this background. I love the way that it turned out. And I let some of the circles overlap the page, and then I'm going to just trim them off. And it's another busy background by Tori, but I'm happy with the way that it turned out, and I think busy backgrounds are okay as long as your photo still stands out. And sometimes a busy background, if you keep your embellishment simple, can actually draw your attention into your embellishment or into your photo. Because you'll notice that the rest of the embellishments on this layout stay fairly simple and in line with the circle motif so that they don't draw attention away from the photo and the journaling. So for the embellishments, I decided just to use these pearl stickers, like rhinestone pearls, and I got these at a dollar store. I got one sheet of pink and one sheet of white, and they were only $1.50. So go check out your dollar store. Yay for the dollar store scrapbooking aisle. There's not that many things, but rhinestones and these pearls are there, and they make my heart happy, pitter patter. So I decided to just add a little bit of journaling in random places, like who's in the photo, when the photo was taken, what the photo is for, and then in one of the larger circles, I'm going to add my journaling, which you'll see in just a moment, and I just sort of journal inside the circle and journal about how much I love these ladies, respect them, how they've encouraged me and uplifted me, and how much they really mean to me. And that's basically all I do on this layout. It was really fun to make, and I'd love to see if you make a project with stitching and scraps. You could post it to the Facebook page or share it on Instagram too. Okay, that's it for me today. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!